Hi guys, today we ask the question, what is topology and what is the hand of God is and a conundrum is? And of course the King speeches as chief strategist analyst and field topologist and field operative for the 5 foundation spheres issues versus Nick Bostrom, Oxford University's Institute for Advanced Humanities, World Institute for New World and New Planet. And today's question by the King's speech is the Chief of Intel chase down the hand of God, chase down Dad, Stern, and Mitchell and Marshall Realty fired, and what is topology, and where the hell is my red knapsack and my iPhone? What the iPhone is really for, like I'm an iPhone 4 now, see Verizon's, instead of my own. Tell Dad now to pick up the phone. Now, in the funding of the Special Airbook Max by Steve Jobs on June the 1st, to be packaged with Mathematical Professional Enterprise version and Maple 14 math software from Microsoft as part of the Honey, I Shrunk My 5 Foundation Spheres first venture capital funding for Steve Jobs Mathematical latest edition, Professional Enterprise Edition versus Microsoft 14 latest professional version for the Airbook Max Specials bundle with VMware, since I only have the 2 years old Mathematica and Microsoft software. So these are the things I ask you to think about now. As I ask you for the funding, compute as you think mathematics. Innovation with Mathematica. Solutions for industry research and education. Wolfram inquires Math Core. Redefine large-scale system design, modeling, and engineering. Conrad Wolfram, Tech Global 2011, must be his brother. New Mathematical 8 available. Introducing freeform linguistics input. Say that? Freeform, introducing freeform linguistics input. Professional Enterprise version. And of course, versus this, Steve Jobs' next cube. Take a look at it. It is Special Airbook Mac edition now. Remember, Steve Jobs Special Air Edition Max package Mathematical Microsoft Professional Enterprise for both, along with the NVIDIA CUDA chip 425, and of course touchscreen and Tiger OS to be able to handle that as well, and to be able to handle Spotlight searches and spelling checks by the Tiger Special Edition, called the Lines Edition. Remind Steve Jobs that his next cube system is now in the Airbook Special Edition, Research Edition Max for me and us on June 1st, and the next cube was packaged with MacArthur winning fellowships Mathematica back then. My Steve Jobs, Tim Cook, and Apple Store Lincoln Center to be tracked down by serial number on June 1st, 2011 in honor of the show's Anton Chip Talks. And of course my follow-up talk on Google YouTube Planet, and people were not interested in about in protecting their own MIT celebration versus the cornerstones or the new planet, Silicon Valley, and of course the old planet by Nick Bostrom's Oxford University research. Professional Enterprise on Airbook Mac versus Next Cube, the next generation of Next Cube packed into Airbook Mac by Steve Jobs. Now back to today's question of why that should be funded. What is topology? And why is conundrum on the hand of God issues? Which looks like some of these things. Experiments in topology, new services. How can this guy be twisted into this guy, and then somehow, like the letters written of alphabets, in order of alphabets, A to Z on the faces of the cubes of a Rubik's Cube, at the start of the Rubik's Cube, and then you rotate the Rubik's Cube in perfect symmetry to non-symmetry, as the universe is in now, and get sentences and novels and textbooks and string theory out of it from these new services. How can that possibly happen by random? Let's take a look at some other issues in experiments in shortest Mobius strips. If we use the Mobius strip instead of Rubik's Cube, or the other service we talked about, how can a random process or random set of equations turn alphabets order into language that we can understand? In other words, if you write the letters of DNA, 4 letters on a Rubik's Cube, and you rotate the cubes or squares, how could you possibly get protein folding knowledge and proteins out of it instead of randomness? Something to think about. Hand of God is at play. Let's take a look at some other examples to motivate people about one-on-one experiments in topology. How can these things turn a random set of letters into knowledge, from protein folding or letters rotating to non-symmetry on a Rubik's Cube, one of the simpler symmetry problems, as you know, in group theory? I just asked Alan Guth and Ed Witten about that. The hand of God. Bible study groups would be laughing that they were always right. Climb bottle. How do you fold it into a climb bottle to hold wine randomly? That's the simple question that defines it all. And this changes everything versus this. And why we need this. That's the next generation 2011 Special Era Book Edition Max. The next cube was Mathematica in 11-inch 128 gigabyte flash memory, 1.4 Intel dual core replaced by quad core, sent to Lincoln Center Apple Store June 1st. Tell Dad to pick up the fucking phone so I can stop using mine instead of other people's phones all day long. And this is what the Lines Project is about. You can tell Columbia. And of course this bookstore. What am I talking about? Caltech Flynn's shelf. Tell Tron Clueless I'll be very, very unhappy about it. Now, of course, let's talk about organic semiconductors. How that could be something of the future. Tell Charles License in the MIT EE labs we change everything. But beyond that, let's talk about map coloring. We know that in map coloring, it takes a lot of computer algorithms and computer artificial intelligence to be able to do map coloring in correct order. Well, key point here is that in the hand of God, that requires a lot of artificial intelligence and high level of Charles License and coloring and map coloring algorithms. You're only coloring the map. You're not creating language and novels, and certainly not textbooks or much less string theory knowledge or the simple protein folding knowledge. How's the hand of God work here? That's this guy, Lee Bollinger. You might know in his West Harlem expansion programs and his USA Roberts Court rulings on free speech by his court at Yale Law School in NYPD cop ambushes 1-8 in favor of free speech versus 8-1 by Roberts Moot Court in the Supreme Court. That's why it's called a moot court in Harvard Law faculty and dean. Why is that? Map coloring a simple problem that doesn't give you any knowledge but requires so much knowledge to do. So that begs you the question in a simple way. Climb bottle. How do you design a wine bottle from a random sheet of paper twisted into it? By non-intelligence and random programs. How do you do map coloring that gives you no knowledge and requires so much knowledge on the part of humans like Joe Traub, the first CUCS technician of the Shaw's Anton chip, and me? And of course, the quintessential question for Charles Licensson in Akamai MIT C-Cell is that how do you decode encoded knowledge? Let's just say if the universe had encoded knowledge pre-built in, and you just need to decode it to be able to read it, such as protein folding. Textbooks are already written into the computer grid on Event Horizon, this library, or Caltech Flynn. Simulator wrote it in onto the Maldacena string theory or Macarena dance. And of course, then how do you decode it? By random algorithms. Simulated annealing by Scott Kirkpatrick